In a small village nestled in the majestic Himalayas, there is a wildlife rescue center called Moonlight. It is a home for injured, orphaned, or lost creatures. One cold winter day, the center's manager, Miss Anjali, receives an urgent call from a forest patrol. They find an abandoned tiger cub in a cave, its mother probably killed by hunters. The cub, with its round eyes and bright orange fur, is named Rani, which means queen in Hindi. Meanwhile, in a remote land in the Arctic, a polar bear cub named Kael is separated from his mother after a terrible blizzard. Kael is rescued by a research team and sent to the Moonlight Center, which has special care conditions for animals from cold regions. The day Rani and Kael meet, it is drizzling. Rani, though only a few months old, was fierce and wary of everything around her. Her low growls echoed whenever someone approached. Meanwhile, Kael was timid, his blue eyes shining with sadness and loneliness. Anjali decided to place their cages side by side, hoping that the presence of another creature would ease their fear. The first night, Rani growled at Kael through the bars. But Kael, instead of responding, just quietly looked at Rani with gentle eyes. Perhaps in their loneliness, they realized something. They needed each other. After a few days, Anjali decided to release Rani and Kael into the same play area. At first, Rani kept her distance, but Kael, with the curious nature of a bear cub, waddled closer. Rani growled, but Kael did not back down. It lay down, put its white head on its front paws, and looked at Rani as if to say, "I won't hurt you." Kael's innocent actions gradually made Rani lower her guard. One afternoon, when the pale yellow sunlight shone through the window, Rani approached Kael for the first time. It sniffed Kael's white fur, then suddenly lay down next to him. Kael, as if sensing her trust, gently rubbed his head against Rani. From that moment on, a magical friendship began. Every day, Rani and Kael played together on the soft carpet in the center. Rani loved to play with Kael's tail, and Kael loved to roll around for Rani to chase. Although they came from two completely different worlds, a predator of the green forest and a denizen of the snow, there was no barrier between them. They slept together, ate together, and even snuggled up to Anjali when it was cold. Rani and Kael's friendship lasted for almost a year, until one fateful day. A huge storm suddenly hit the village, bringing floods and landslides. The Moonlight Center was completely isolated. The floodwaters rose, destroying the fences and inundating the enclosures. In a panic, Anjali and the staff tried to evacuate the animals, but Rani and Kael were trapped in an area surrounded by water. Rani, with her tiger instincts, quickly climbed a large rock to escape the water. But Kael, accustomed to the cold and unable to swim in the rushing water, was swept away. Kael's cries for help echoed through the howling wind and roaring water. Rani, from above, saw her best friend struggling in the water. Her little heart sank. Without hesitation, Rani jumped into the flood. Even though she was just a cub, her strong survival instinct and friendship made her braver than ever. Rani swam to Kael, biting his neck and pulling him up to a nearby rock. Both were wet and shivering, but still alive. Rani lay down, letting Kael lean on her, using her warm fur to warm him. Under the fierce storm, their friendship became the only light in the darkness. After the storm, the Moonlight Center was severely damaged. Anjali received news that an international conservation organization wanted to return Kael to the Arctic, where he belonged. At the same time, Rani was also selected to participate in a reintroduction program in a tropical forest. Although heartbroken, Anjali knew that this was the best thing for both of them. On the day of parting, Rani and Kael were reunited for the last time. They lay side by side on the familiar carpet where they had spent their happiest days together. Kael rubbed his head against Rani, and Rani growled softly, as if to say, "I will never forget you." As Kael was taken away in a car, Rani stood silently watching, her golden eyes shining with sadness. Her growl echoed throughout the center, like a painful farewell. Rani was released into a forest in India. At first, she had difficulty adjusting to life in the wild, but every time she looked up at the moon, Rani would remember Kael, remember the days they had played together. The moon seemed to become a bridge between their souls, even though they were thousands of miles apart. Meanwhile, Kael was taken to the North Pole. He grew up to be a strong polar bear, but there was always a void in his heart that only Rani could fill. Every night, Kael looked up at the moon and let out long calls, hoping that Rani, somewhere far away, would hear. Years passed, and Rani became a fierce tigress, queen of the forest. Kael became a majestic polar bear, leader of the bears in the Arctic. Though they never met again, their friendship lived on, like the eternal moonlight in the sky. Years later, at the Moonlight Center, a photo exhibition was held to commemorate the journey of the animals that had been rescued there. Among them, the photo of Rani and Kael sleeping side by side on the soft carpet became the center of attention. The image spread around the world, inspiring millions of people to learn about the power of friendship and kindness. Anjali, now an old woman, stood before the photo, her eyes shining with pride and nostalgia. In the jungles of India, Rani, now a grown tigress, still occasionally looks up at the moon. Her cubs, tiny tigers, cling to their mother, unaware that Rani's eyes are always on a distant memory, the memory of a polar bear that was once her whole world. In the Arctic, Kael has also become a strong leader. Under the cold moonlight, he stands on a large block of ice, raises his head, and lets out long calls, like a message to his dear friend that he will never forget. Although time and distance have separated Rani and Kael, the moonlight, the symbol of their friendship, still shines brightly, connecting two souls on opposite sides of the world. It is said that on full moon nights, if you listen closely, you can hear Rani's roar and Kael's cry blending in the wind, like a symphony of eternal friendship. I would like to thank you, my wonderful audience, for listening and accompanying Rani and Kael's story. I hope this emotional journey has touched your hearts and brought you faith and hope for the good things in life. Thank you for your time, and see you in the next stories.